In a world drowning in noise, where truth is often buried beneath layers of propaganda and misinformation, there's a need for a different kind of a network of creators that cuts through the clutter, that doesn't shy away from tough topics, and that delivers the unfiltered truth. We are Trim Radio Network. We are creators, we are innovators, we are investigators. We're the ones who aren't afraid to call a spade a spade. If you're ready to participate in thought-provoking discussions, informational topics, and of course today's biggest headlines, subscribe to our YouTube channel today. We're Trim Radio Network. We're cutting the bull and serving the truth.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Now, from the northeast quadrant of the United States, it's the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscalla. Saturday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern until midnight on the Trim Radio Network. You can join the conversation in any of our chat rooms. And now, without further ado, your host, Riscalla.
Greetings and welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking time to share with me tonight. I appreciate it. It's getting to be a regular thing almost with the president and bullets being fired around him. Just hours ago, there was appears to be some type of a shootout that just happened at the White House. Watch.
All right, we're going to bring back in Alex Hogan live outside the White House for the latest information.
They're going to go to you.
Hi, Tommy. So we just got some new information from the White House, according to the press office. They said shortly after 6 p.m., an individual approached the Secret Service checkpoint outside the White House. This is at 17th and Pennsylvania Avenue, so just one block behind me. You can still see that there's a large police presence here. This involves the FBI, Secret Service, and, of course, D.C. police. So the White House telling us that there was a preliminary investigation at this point that indicates that an individual approached. He removed a weapon from his bag and he began firing at police officers. Secret Service police officers then returned fire, striking that suspect, who was later transported to an area hospital where he later died. During the shooting, a bystander was also struck by gunfire. So the White House press team at this point telling us that it's really unclear if the bystander was struck by the suspect's initial gunfire or during the subsequent exchange of gunfire. So some big breaking news there from the White House. And one thing that we're learning from the White House, there were no injuries to members of the Secret Service, any of the personnel there. The president, again, was at the White House. We were continuing to follow all of the latest developments in a lot of these high-stakes meetings that he held today with members, the leaders of many of the countries in the Middle East, as the White House continues trying to push forward this new deal with Iran. And more details of that will come out tomorrow. So all of this happening about an hour after we were told we wouldn't hear from the president again. We wouldn't hear anything from the White House. So the press team just releasing that statement. So that gives us a little bit more insight into exactly how all of this played out. Again, a large police perimeter around here, even though we have been told that the lockdown was lifted, all of these streets continue to remain to be blocked. The only people that I've been seeing coming and going are people in businesses, people in hotels. Again, this is a heavily trafficked area. So we have been seeing some people coming and going if they were already on this block. We know that some journalists were still at the White House when all of this took place. They have been told that they can leave through one of the exits. Where we're standing, however, again, no one's getting through where we are. We have been seeing some of these members of the Secret Service come and go, but not letting anyone pass this location here. So again, the breaking news there that the White House says that suspect who did open fire has died. Tommy.
Hey, Alex, it's Alicia real quick. You were a war zone reporter before heading to D.C., and you were reporting from the same place we saw people who could hear ducking for cover from the shots. Do you feel safe there? We're running out of time here, but do you feel safe from where you're standing at the White House when you report?
Yes, as you mentioned, I've been in a lot of situations where I'm typically wearing body armor when I'm overseas. Very different situation. I do have to say that I do feel incredibly safe by the incredible men and women who protect this area every day. We see some of those faces behind us here. That being said, what I do for a living is not what the average civilian and citizen should be used to. Thankfully, we live in a country where that kind of violence is not normalized. That being said, the D.C. police once again telling people not to come near this area, even though they do believe that this threat has been neutralized. Alicia.
Alex Hogan, thank you so much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News.
So if you can imagine walking along and all of a sudden shots ring out, or maybe you're a reporter and you're reporting on a completely different subject, and all of a sudden,
Since 2022, President Trump promises the prices will go down, but his grip on Republican support on Capitol Hill is weakening.
There's shots fired. You have to get down. Shots. There are shots fired. You are going down. Yeah, we might be there. Go down. Okay. I'm here. There are shots fired.
it's going to be a regular thing now, right? I don't know anything else other than what you saw. I just heard about it literally 10 minutes before the show started. And I looked into how quickly I could find something. And what I showed you is what I could find. So is this guy a lunatic? I mean, maybe it's, there's this thing called suicide by cop. It's real. It's very real. Not that I've ever felt this way, please. But I can imagine that if you wanted to kill yourself, but you're afraid to kill yourself, you're afraid to shoot yourself, whatever it might be. You're afraid to do it to yourself. So you go and all you have to do is you don't even have to fire the weapon, just point the weapon. And the return volley will be, many of them are trained to neutralize the threat. And that what that means is you take no chances whatsoever. If somebody has pointed a gun at you, especially if somebody has shot at you, you empty your clips. And if you got more clips, you put them in and you get ready to empty them as well. So you're looking at a minimum of 9 and as many as upwards of 18 and up shots. I've seen a couple of videos where this one particular video, it's 2 officers pull over an older car. It's got some rust on the back. Pulls the driver out and is talking to the driver. And I guess the partner walked over to the passenger side and starts up a conversation with a baby and a lady who's holding a baby in the passenger seat. And he notices this guy in the back. So he says, "Hey, how you doing?" You can hear this on the video. "Hey, how you doing? Can you step out for a minute?" Well, when he said, "Can you step out?" to the guy in the back, you could see the panic in this officer's face. This guy in the back whipped that door open, had an automatic, I think it was I'm not going to guess. It was an automatic weapon. It wasn't semi-automatic. It was an automatic weapon. And he began to fire. And meanwhile, you have a lady holding a baby. So he began to fire. He shot one of them in the foot, if I remember correctly. Came around the car and was trying to finish the one that he shot off, the one that he shot in the foot, trying to finish him off. The partner comes around behind him where he doesn't see him, empties his clip into him, drops the clip, sticks another one in there, and continues on. And when they were asked, "Why did you shoot the guy so many times?" You know what the answer was? Ran out of bullets. So there is this thing called suicide by cop. It's well known that if you threaten an officer, let me back up a minute. If you threaten an officer's life, you come at him with a knife, you come at him with a machete, whatever. If that officer feels that his life is in danger, he's going to neutralize you. And that means you can kiss it goodbye, baby. You'll be lucky if you survive. You'll be really lucky. So we got shots going off again at the White House. And I can't help but wonder, was this guy suicidal? What happened to, if he's not suicidal, let me go down this road for a moment. If he's not suicidal, I'll have Blue coming on here in just a few minutes. If this guy's not suicidal, what happened to critical thinking? Gee, I am one person, and you're looking at probably at least 15, at least, walking around guarding the White House. I know that is 18 in my experience. When I had an experience with the Secret Service decades ago, I was just a teenager when it happened. It's a long story, but they visited my dad. My dad had a relative who was very high up in Saudi Arabia, came to visit Nixon. And while he was visiting Nixon, he came to visit my dad. And of course, all this entourage with him anyways, 18 of them at that time. So there had to be at least 15, maybe as many as 30 of them in the area. So what happens to critical thinking? Let me see. There's one of me and there's, I don't know how many of them. I mean, there's just 4 or 5 of them. And then you hear the shots starting to go off. So to me, it sounded like the guy who had the weapon and started shooting just kept shooting until they finished him off. I'm going to shoot as many times as I can before they finish me off. So is he a pre-programmed individual, an MK Ultra? Somebody who has been indoctrinated? I guess we'll find out more. So tonight, I wasn't expecting that to happen with the White House thing. Anyway, tonight I'm going to have Blue Crystalline Phoenix with me. If you have not heard her before, you're in for a treat. You'll have to listen closely because Blue is well known for using language that is not of the common person. And I'm not making fun of her. You'll see when we get into a conversation here, you have to listen closely to what she's saying, because the what's the word I'm looking for? The language that she uses is English language, but the words that she uses is not very common. So her and I have had a couple of conversations about, listen, you kind of put it in layman's terms. You got to make it simple, like me. So anyway, she'll be coming on shortly. I'm very disappointed in what I'm seeing. More and more of my friends are supporting this war. Anybody who's listened to me knows that you have Joe Kent coming out. This is the Assistant Chief of Intelligence. This is not some stupid person. He is saying that we were under no direct threat by Israel for them to attack us. And when he came out and he resigned his seat and said, in good conscience, I can't do this. It goes against my beliefs. So what happened? They start to cut him down. Oh, he's low IQ. This is one of the... So you hear the president repeatedly. If somebody goes against him, they're low IQ, they're grifters. That's a new one for me. I didn't even know what a grifter was. Just these names, it's almost like a bully in the play yard. You don't go along with them. Oh, well, you're this and you're that. And I really... very upset with the whole thing. So there is also Tulsi Gabbard, who said something to the effect of she had no information that there was a threat to us, a direct threat to us from from Iran. There is a direct threat from Israel, but there's no direct threat to us from Iran. We were told, 8-9 months ago, that we dropped these god-awful bombs and blew up their underground facilities, and they can't make anymore. Why do we go back? I'm telling you, if the information I have is accurate, it's not just 13 or 14 of our service members. It's thousands. It's in the thousands already. If the information I have is correct, it's in the thousands. And the reason I say that is I've heard from 2 different sources overseas that one of our aircraft carriers has been sunk, possibly another has been sunk or damaged so severely that they're going to have to evacuate. Now, that could be propaganda. I understand that. But I also understand that it could be for real. There's no way for me to confirm it, because I don't have the access to the information. They're not going to tell us that. I remember this going on when I was involved in the service during the Vietnam War. They weren't reporting what was going on. They weren't giving the real numbers. That's more accurate. They were reporting, but not the real numbers. And it took until the end of the war to find out that almost 60,000 of my generation didn't come home. And now we're doing this. People have said that I have severe Trump derangement syndrome. Well, to those people, just know that I voted for this guy every time that he ran. Every time. I believed that he was going to be what we needed. A businessman who had gone bankrupt. I knew about that. Gone bankrupt. But you see, if you go bankrupt, then you know how to get around. How to keep from doing it again and again. He was able to go bankrupt and keep his assets. So what if he could do that for the United States? This is just my idea when he was running. What if he could do that for us? We bankrupt this silly corporation that they call a government, which I believe is bankrupt already, but we declare it openly and we start over. And when we print money, we print certificates. We don't print notes. We print certificates. Growing up, we had certificates. You had a certificate of silver. You had a certificate of gold. Was that a gold certificate, silver certificate? It looks identical to the dollar that you're carrying today, other than where it says at the top Federal Reserve note, it said silver certificate. And that meant that every one of those, you could go to the bank and return that quote paper and get yourself a silver dollar, a dollar that was 0.999 silver and 0.875 of the dollar was 999 silver. So if you took that and just melted it down today, it would be worth somewhere between 30 and 50 bucks, depending upon what the spot is on silver today. Imagine making $30 to $50 more per hour, or whatever, however you make your money. Imagine your money being 30 to 50 times more than it is today. During the period when I was growing up, parents had that choice. They were able to make that choice. One of them could stay home, and one of them could leave the home and go work outside the home and still have a nice home. Take a vacation, have a nice car. Can't do that anymore. It takes both of them, and you can still barely pay the rent. Why? Because it's all by design. They want to break us, and we're very close to that at this point. I feel so bad for my kids. My kids can't even afford rent anymore. In order for you to make a living wage, a realistic living wage, would have to be about minimum $35 an hour. Depending upon where you live, it could be even more than that. But somewhere around $35 an hour, you know what the minimum wage is? It's a joke. And they expect people to live off of that. Meanwhile, you have people working 2 and 3 jobs and still having a hard time making ends meet. It wasn't designed to be that way, people. It was never designed to be like this. This is the result of criminals. Criminals. They're no different than the criminal that will put a gun to your head, but instead of a gun, they have a pencil or a pen, and they have paper. And they write on this piece of paper, okay, this is what you're going to do. Bump. And now it's a law. And little by little, they've been stealing from us over and over and over again. I've used this analogy many times, and people don't realize the seriousness of what's happening. If you were kind enough to invite me to your home, and we had dinner and pleasant talk, everything was fine. I got ready to leave. I was thanking you, and on the way out, I took something. Nothing really expensive or anything, but just I took something without asking you. I just took something and walked out. Would you not be upset? How is it that you're not upset when I tell you that these people have forced us, many of us, into blown out the blue collar, forget the blue collars, and forced us into a quality of life that we deserve so much better. We pay for so much better. But instead, they want to take the money that we give them, or forced to give them. Don't pay your taxes. Watch what happens. Come kidnap you, stick you in a cage. Or if you really make them mad, what they'll do is they'll freeze your account. Can't have any of your money. You owe us $100, but you got $12,000 in the bank. The whole thing gets frozen. They won't freeze 100. No. We're going to freeze the whole freaking thing. We're going to make it hurt. This is the kind of people we're dealing with. So anyway, I get so upset because I want people to just recognize it. You don't have to believe what I'm telling you. We're living it. It's not a matter. Doesn't everything cost more? Am I imagining that everything is costing more? Every time I go to the store now, for me, just for me, for a week, 9 days, $100 minimum. I mean, if I leave it under 100, it's a miracle. Today, rent, got just basic stuff, $120. You're not telling me that things are getting more expensive rapidly? Rapidly. There was a purchase that I made back in December. I had made the same purchase from the same place, went to pick it up. It was 21% higher. Now, to give them credit, it has come down, but it's still higher than it was. Everything is more expensive. And what's happening? The money that we are forced to give, those of us who want to give, God bless you, give. But the money that we're forced to give, what happens to it? They give it to other countries. They give it to Ukraine. We know Ukraine is corrupt. It's no question. It's not a theory. Why are we giving them more money? We give more money to Israel. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Why? They can't support themselves? What is it about that country that has so much control over ours? There are people who believe we are occupied by them. Due to the APAC pacts that they have, they bought people right, left, and center. Tom Massey just lost. Why did he lose? Because you got billionaires involved in our politics that have no business in our politics. Us as a people are no longer represented. The ones who are represented are the freaking billionaires. I'm disgusted. I would love to see an audit of the Tom Massey election. I'm willing to bet. I'm not really a betting guy, but I'm willing to bet there's some finagling going on. Here's a guy that usually on every time that he gets reelected, he's usually around 50,000 or so, beating his opponents by at least 10 to 15,000. This guy pops in out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's got over 15,000 more than Tom Massey. You're going to tell me that Tom Massey, who has made it public, I will not go for mandatory vaccines. I want all of the Epstein files released, unredacted, other than victim names. Several other things. Tom Massey is the one who's putting America first. Tom Massey is the one who's doing what Trump said he was going to do, but turned his back on us and decided to stab us while he's smiling at us. That's what Tom Massey's doing. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene was doing. That's what Rand Paul was doing. Can't think of her name. Luna. Young lady, there was only 4 of them. Only 4. 4 out of all of them up there, only 4 stuck up for us. And we're going to reelect these people? And Trump is pissed off at Tom Massey because Tom Massey wants to release all of the records, and Trump doesn't want to release the records? It's really hard for me not to express to you vulgar language, because that's how I feel dirty. I feel like I've been treated dirty. I feel like I was in a relationship that somebody lied to me to my face repeatedly, knowing they were lying to me, knowing that there was a purpose behind that lie, knowing that when it was all revealed, it would show that that person was far less than an honorable person. And it blows my mind that there are still people supporting this president. How? Oh, well, you don't understand, Riscalla. He locked up the borders. Well, God bless him. Thank you. I appreciate that. But is that the only thing? I mean, he has to do some good, some here and some there. Otherwise, everything would be bad. Not a single arrest, not a single. I'm so mad I can't think. Nobody in trouble. Nobody's held responsible. And we expect them to represent us. If you or I were to do something like they've done, what do you think would happen to us? But it's okay for them to do it. Why? When they go to the bathroom, do they poop perfume? I don't get it. All right, enough of the political garbage. I'm physically sick, really. I'm physically sick. I wish people could see what I see. It hurts so bad to know that I'm just a kid, but, I took an oath, and I meant that oath then, and I mean it now. And I see the enemies, but nobody else seems to see them. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Gonna take a break. When I come back, short break. When I come back, we're going to have Blue Crystalline with us, and she's got a lot she wants to share with everybody. She's awesome young lady. Here we go.
Hey, your leaders have failed you. They take everything from you. They have lied. the divine chosen clowns, while every explosion is shaking the ground. Doctrine of dominance echoing loud, broadcasting lies through a venomous sound. Israel built empires, controlling the crowd, tiny gold crowns while the missiles come down. Our ends, patience have come to its end. They will bomb tyrants once again. Thunder responding to years of pain. Crimson horizon is flooding with rain. Pride in their towers beginning to crack. Now the fire of justice is striking them back. Cathedrals of power where tyrants prayed evil, preaching supremacy over the people, claiming their bloodline was born to be rebel, while freedom of speech and voice is illegal. Kneeling to shadows they swear I pride evil, selling the masses a prophecy sequel. Israel kept chanting their doctrine of evil, while rockets kept falling on peaceful people. Our ends, patience have come to its end. They will bomb tyrants once again. Thunder responding to years of pain. Crimson horizon is flooding with rain. Pride in the towers beginning to crack. Now the fire of justice is striking them Now the resistance is ready to fight. After enduring the years of the night, truth in the temples they tried to ignite, while propaganda kept killing the light. Israel kept preaching their arrogant right, saying the kingdom was holy and bright. Now the horizon erupts into the light, justice descending to settle the fight. Our ends, patience have come to its end. They will bomb tyrants once again. Thunder responding to decades of pain, storming the heavens like rivers of rain. Crowns of their arrogance starting to crack. Now the fire of justice is
Heck of a way to get a message across, isn't it? If you haven't been paying attention to what's going on over there, that's pretty accurate, what's going on. All right, let's see if I can bring Miss Blue on here. Are you there, Blue? Your microphone is muted. Let's see if we can unmute.
Hello?
There we go. Hey there, welcome.
Hi, I muted it on purpose earlier accidentally.
No worries.
Accidentally,
No,
but
no worries. And before we get into everything else, I want to know how you're feeling, because those people who are listening, we got quite a few listening.
in pain. I'm in pain, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest with you. pharmaceuticals don't do much of healing humans properly, even us starseeds like us. It's
Yeah.
sad. It is saddening. I see a
Yeah.
lot of wars that have been personally going on between myself and other things, and should have just done it better and not making it a wait scenario. But you know what? In the end, especially with the new AI sciences and health departments coming up with AI and robotics technologies, this won't have to be such a wait for humankind or
Amen.
others like ourselves.
Yeah.
And
All right.
there are many individuals who would say, yeah, just like myself, because they would have to take a while to deal with something, whether it'd have to go through surgery or it'd have to deal with going to see doctors or dealing with this, that, even the medicines. Either it's a waiting game, you got to pay to get healthy, or you're ensnared, you get paid to get healthy, but then there's an entrapment speed because it messes up your neural thought form processors or your DNA structure itself and causes other bad symptoms and alternated effects. A
Wow.
lot of the medicines do that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'll keep praying for you. I know it's trying to recover is always a tough fight.
Well, Donald Trump, as well as other individuals who work through us and who deal with us in the Space Force Department and had coordinators, as well as others through Elon Musk that have technologies that will accelerate the DNA structure, maintain its augmented subspeeds. Neuralink is just a substandard code, but there is NTech genetic redirectory wavelines, as well as generalized, I believe, NTech to Neuralink genesis speeds that would run into the second augmenter of the third eye, which there is two peripheral third eyes, one through the front and one through the back. And the back unlocks and runs around the main the main nervous system, human central nervous system, whatever you call it.
Hang on.
So,
Hang on a second. You're saying there's two? Say that again.
two third eyes. The reason why Elon Musk deals with Neuralink, and he's only augmented to a certain statistic code if he goes down just a little bit further. And we had several hyperterrestrial races in the past aligned to certain types, similar technologies to him, but those are more to magnetic. So if you go more downwards and you enter the upper spinal column, right where the neck meets, or past it, in between the head and the upper neck, right there, just that area runs into. That's why it's such a sensitive area. When humans touch that, it kind of feels good when you rub on it. There's a sensitive, actually a central energetic spot there, as well as it is effectiveness to the main central nervous system, or whatever, the human nervous system. So what it does is also unlocks the hyperperipheral movement speeds or psyche codes of several types of psychic abilities. The third eye in the front only unlocks a specified amount. The second part unlocks even more and has a sub activator that goes down the ridge line of the back.
See, now this is the first I've heard of this, so bear with me here, because I've always understood the third eye being the pineal gland. Am I mistaken or no?
Yes, but there is a second activator that unlocks all of the psychic abilities that are locked away inside the mind, as well as an accelerated amount of knowledge, and that runs through the back end that goes upon the upper neck to the actual back of the head, closer to where Elon's working with his Neuralink, but it's down more. They're still around the same area.
Wait a minute. You're 100 miles ahead of me.
Well, that's what you get for having Blue come back on here. My apologies.
Oh my God. Yeah, are you saying that there's physically another organ that's back there, or is the back of the pineal gland? Is there a back and a front to the pineal gland?
The back of the head, around the main inner subconscious. It's a certain area, but it interlocks all the way down the back of the spinal column. And it unlocks extra chakra portions of the systems too. We already know, like, there's 7 but there's actually a lot more than that, and that helps unlock and lift it up. And it's able to open up several types of hyper awareness codes, like hyper telekinesis, something to a central augmenter through it, being able to use telepathy, and eventually being able to use the mind to matter and move objects at will, depending on the conjuncture.
Well, I've seen that.
Humans in the past, let's say you may have seen pictures or descriptions of something with the back of their heads or something that messes with the fronts of their minds. Or you may have heard of other entities that have potentially been taken up into star units, UFOs, and they had mantoid species, if you will, or certain types of grays had been doing experimentations on them and had imprinted to the back of their upper neck, to that area of the head, the same type of similar technologies as Elon's, but more advanced.
So could it be one of the listeners is saying, could it be the vagus nerve that you're talking about?
As a higher being, and I'm not sure. All I know is his interlocking code that runs around to where Elon's already working on in the back of the head, and it goes down a little further to where the upper neck meets the back of the head. That sensitive area. Like if you touch it with your fingers, you start rubbing on it, there's a little bump there, just below it, and right up above is the main augmenter through the second, third eye.
See, I'm not sure where the vagus nerve is, but maybe that's why they're asking. Maybe the vagus nerve is back in that area.
Maybe it is.
I'll be watching for comments and see if anybody says anything. Yeah, that's news to me. I was always in the belief, the understanding that the third eye was the pineal gland.
There
we
are
only have
two
one.
There are two.
Huh. Well, all right.
That's why people are afraid of Elon messing with Neuralink, but they don't understand that he knows ancient advanced Tartarian technologies. And that's one of them. But, in utilization, he's not maintaining proper ethic right now, and he needs to work on the technology a bit more. So that way, it runs more along the lines of something that could be magnetized to a certain point to the head instead of imprinted underneath.
So the thing with a resistance or a concern about the Neuralink is that if you're somebody who reads the Bible, it says in the Bible that there's going to be a mark of the beast.
That is not it.
Huh?
That is not it. That certain mark was augmented into chemicals and reactivity zones. Certain receptacles had been caught in that action and had deterred them from their righteous ways. I can also go into a deeper understanding of how things are going in a downward spiral instead of upwards, but there will be an upward spiral that will maintain equilibrium altogether here. One of the main issues, if you would say the mark, would be control of the mind, MK Ultra.
Right.
Let's per se that what he's doing isn't, because it is an unlocker of the peripheral movement speeds. But MK Ultra itself has a hyper advanced technology and frequency band that automatically locks in to certain areas in the interneural subconscious. And those pathways to where the human normally goes is automatically shut down. That's why you see kids shooting nowadays. And I'm going to go to what that little video here. I know it's going back a bit, but that's okay. And the shootings. Now, you can have to have an understanding of how humans are supposed to be and how they are now. How they're supposed to be goes even back, I could say, to the Native Americans, and as well as maybe the 60s, 50s, and 40s, back and to other agendas in the timeline where there was a substantial equilibrium of the mind within humans. It didn't seem an overlap. Now, just recently, within the past probably 15 to 25 years, or maybe even 10, there's been an increase of a collateral damage of the mind being taken over, especially in the young ones. There's a reason for this, is because there's an agenda, and also militarized agendas, but those go into certain corporate entities that follow orders through that receptacle. This itself is, they're locking in, they're using MK ultra frequency, they're disbanding the entity from what it normally does and automatically engaging it to one code. And that one code is what it's supposed to do, and it can't do anything else. That's why there are entities, a lot, even like that one, are just acting weird or unknowingly able to motivate themselves. Even like the one that swam across into Mar-a-Lago and just got shot, just brought out guns, and they are being MK controlled.
Well, that was one of my theories. So did you see the beginning of my monologue where I showed a report about shots being at the White House?
Yes, I was watching.
Yeah. So one of my theories is that maybe this guy's under some kind of. You can't be
exactly.
You can't be a normal person. I mean, I don't know. To me, my opinion, you can't be a normal person thinking you're going to get away with shooting at the White House and you're going to walk away. You just, that's insane. That's just, anyway.
But going back to that and back to Neuralink, MK Mind Control Ultra and Neuralink are two different types of things. Neuralink wanted to become something of a great substantial asset if it's obtained through the Tartarian technologies, as well as fields of AI that would be more directed for humans. That way, the diplomacy of them being able to maintain their code of ethics through their mind and accelerated rate between themselves and AI, artificial intelligence, would become easier, as well as utilizing things through telepathy to a point, as well as using telepathy to maintain and maneuver around other vehicles or other things in particular that could potentially be a portal in the near future.
Where does AI fall in to this technology that you're talking about?
AI would be in accumulative mode if presented properly, especially through robotic systems. It has to intertwine to the humans, to humankind, because in order for humankind to advance, they would have to have something that would imprint them more at a higher level than what they are. Because right now, humankind's kind of at residual lower motive, but it is trying to raise its levels up.
And
so
when you say it's time to raise and level up, can you describe that? How are we going to level up?
Bring back the ancient Tartarian and Tesla technologies that was withdrawn from humankind.
Okay, so I'm not trying to be argumentative with you, okay? I just want to point something out. I would love to be able to do what you're saying, but there's a problem. The problem is that there are a very small group of people, sadly, who have all kinds of control over different aspects of our lives. One of the major threats that would be occurred when we talk about the technology that you're mentioning is the threat to oil. If you listen to these people that talk about our economy, they will talk about a petrodollar. It's the oil economy. So when someone comes across with something like what you're talking about, which again, I 100% support it. The issue is the people who are in power and making so much money feel a threat by that. So either they buy you out, or they kick you out, or they kill you. That's what it boils down to. So that's the issue that I have seen repeatedly over the years, over and over and over again. How do we get around that? That's, I mean, for me, that's the major thing, because the technology exists today. It's part of the Tesla technologies, but it exists today. I have seen it. Generators that don't use fuel. they generate enough, they generate more than enough to run themselves and then have plenty left over to run something else. But the people who came up with them have been warned by the government. You will not go. Now, this is decades ago. It's gotten a little better, but they were warned. You will not go public with this. As a matter of fact, after their warning, the government didn't trust them, so they came and raided their labs and took their equipment, trying to suppress it all. So this is the issue that we're going to run into. I don't doubt that the technology is available, but unless maybe somebody like Elon, if Elon came out with it, because he carries such a powerful following with him, maybe then we could have some degree of it. But unless something like that happens, I want it to happen.
He is holding quite a few bit of my blueprints that were pretty much freely given to his department from myself. And some of those have to do with augmented sciences of energy.
Wow.
As well as teleportation through the boring systems, Talo arc suits, which will deploy a minority field upon the humans so they can go into other areas and jump from a distance upon impact and not hurt themselves. Use a essential energy and ability elevator through it as well. There are several inclined informational data banks that he has, not just from myself, but other star seeds and hybrids that potentially may be working in his department. And if we pay attention to the elites and other leaders across the planet, humans are going to understand that there's something more to them that they will never realize. And that will go way beyond their heads. And one of these things is presidential alliances with specified extraterrestrial entities. And it has gone for several hundreds of years upon this current plane of existence. And leaders, and Native American leaders, tribes. There are tribes that they show, I'll go back to the president thing, but there are tribal leaders and tribes, and you show them a picture, or you talk about a gray, they ain't gonna know, but you show a picture of a gray or another terrestrial like that, they're gonna tell you where they come from. You wanna know where some of these grays come and go? Under your feet. There are levels underground. There are hollow nets.
Yeah.
There are central domains and caverns that grays come back and forth on. And these, even the Native Americans or these native tribes or specified other entities from other countries know about it. They have to keep stuff like that a secret. Why? Either because they fear it and they don't want the public knowing, or it has to be in a protected outlet stream. That's why they don't discuss too much about pyramids underground in certain areas on other planets, including some in Mars, but you're not going to see it on the top. It's underground.
So
and on the moon.
I'm very well aware that there are entire cities underground. These criminals that are in our government keep telling us, oh, we're missing so many trillions of dollars here and so many trillions of dollars there. We're going to find it. They never find it. It's all spent on literally cities underground. Some of them are thousands of feet underground. Complete cities with everything you could imagine other than windows. Everything else is there. There's a truck driver who I tried to download the video, and for some reason it was marked as private, so I couldn't. But there was a truck driver who drove into there and came back out. And as he's coming back out, he's taking little snaps here and there. They got shopping center, like a little mall, like a little shopping center. You can go shopping, you can go buy your stuff, whatever you want. There's another area where it looks like it was far off in the distance, but it looked like a pool, a swimming pool, and with trees around it. The one thing that in all the pictures that I saw, I didn't see any light bulbs, but everything was lit up. So I don't know where the light's coming from.
Right, but going back to Elon Musk and going back to oil, the only way the humans are going to stop their entrapment from this oil because oil is not needed as an energy.
Yeah, I know.
Nuclear radio fuel, using nuclear energy to an extent that will momentarily pull something forwards for humans, as well as the energy that's intertwined in through the central arc domain, which runs on a continuous lifespan. A lot of the upper elites use it, including the presidential figures. So they have one or two more arcs underneath the White House, I believe that. But they have they have main central subtunnels, laboratories, scientific shit, military stuff, secret things. They have cooperative alliance agreements. They're underground too, underneath. They don't do it on top, on the levels of the White House. And as well as a portal that presidentials have utilized back and forth there in other areas between that and the moon and centralized celestial realms to coordinate with other star races. There are two main affiliators of star races that maintain main control upon this realm. And then there are several species that interlocked amongst those. There are the grays, and there's good and bad. And then there are the reptilians, which are good and bad. Subspecies, different types. So those have pretty much had main control over this, the moon, Mars, the second moon. Actually, there's two moons, Nibiru X, Nibiru Y, and then the second conjuncture, the Nibiru systems, which runs along it, as well as the three suns.
3 suns.
There are 3 suns. Then the leveled, some of it has been seen before by humankind, but not 3. But there has been a leveled of 2.
I've heard that we have
instances.
I've heard that there is another sun behind the sun that we have. I've never heard there was 3.
To the human eye, and you gotta understand that above these humans' bubble, above your bubble here, they hide a lot. They coat the upper levels of the hemisphere for a reason. It's not just intoxication to humans, it's to hide things so they can't see what's above them fully.
I thought they were spraying us just to kill us. Gee.
I'm not talking about just that, I'm talking about other things that are hidden behind the scenes, especially behind clouds and things in intervals at night that look like lightning and different colors. Sometimes you hear subatomic booms or some other things going on. There are military cooperative UAP extraterrestrial versus technology maneuvering streams that they use behind the scenes up above people they don't know and are aware of. There are also certain types of celestial bodies that they don't want humans to see, or something happening paranormal above them, so they hide it. They coat it from above. Not the lines, just like a coating of something. Or some type of cloud incubates it, or the colorization from up above too. Like point of effect, they can create a projected hologram.
Yeah.
Film.
Oh yeah.
There's more to this and above it and below it than what humans perceive, to what most humans perceive.
I've been reporting about that for a while. They have technology now that touchable holograms.
So essentially they'd be using some type of hologram projector so people are not able to perceive and see what they're supposed to.
And I have a friend of mine who used to be secretary for Werner von Braun, who she says he told her repeatedly, watch out for the last card. When they play the last card, it'll be the fake alien invasion. Can you say anything about that?
Hybrid, they just, to move things into scene, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a directed order like that. The only way for that to happen is if the negative Rills, the Draconians, that cooperate with them, or they're Mater Gray, go on an all-out war against humans. But in order for that to happen, they would have to deal with several essential star races, including what was set behind the scenes as a safety net for the main elites and the presidents. They can't just do that regardless, and even if they did, they would improvise a problem from those on the good side, meaning they would go against it. So there would, if that would be, then be an intergalactic war against races, because there are several star races that cooperate and help and assist mankind throughout many eons.
You know, I said earlier in the monologue, some people seem to have lost the ability to use critical thinking or common sense. If you do any digging, you'll find that aliens have been here probably longer than we've been here. So if they really wanted to do something like that, like an alien invasion kind of thing, it would have happened a long time ago. The technology far exceeds anything that we have, and it has always far exceeded anything that we have. So if they wanted to do that, they could have done it a long time ago. I think that it's a matter of the government continuing to push fear and chaos so that they can, go on with the corrupt system that they've got. So now let me get back to the Neuralink while I'm thinking about this, because I saw, maybe you've seen this video. I saw a video of a monkey playing the video game Pong. Do you know what the video game Pong is? You know what that is? This monkey was playing the video game Pong without using his hands. He was using his mind. They had a Neuralink into his brain. And you could watch this thing going back and forth, and he's playing it. Tell me that's not freaky. Did I lose you?
That advantage several times over, my friend. They have lost it, though, throughout the several eons. And I'm going to go back to the war thing. Civilization, I don't know, there's been so many times over. There's been civilizations that have had wipeouts from other races before. Not the whole entire planet, but there have been civilizations. And that's why there's certain areas that looked like they've just been decapacitated altogether, or looked like something just like a big hole or something blew through them, or just doesn't look common like it should.
Mm-hmm.
But understanding that there are perceptions of timelines that beings would also help and unravel humankind and or other entities so they're able to evolve again. Humans have a timeline speed of evolvement several times over. And I believe the domains that run through one of the main coordinates that interlink to the Anunnaki's hadron collimators, or they're interlocked into them, and the perceptions of those that run through it can have a catalyzed unconversion effect. And that can affect everything too all at once. It can also open up portals. Looks like there was instances where, was it 12-12-12 supposed to be catalysm, or is it 666?
666 is the
The
number
Mayan,
of
the Mayan catalysm.
Say
Okay,
that
so
again?
that didn't happen. There's a Mayan timetable, catalysm calendar that perpetually is supposed to be. I thought it was either 666 or 12-12-12. I'm not sure. And it never happened. Why? Because there was a major contortion and conversion of one of the hadron collimators at the time. And that caused a rip. And the spatial time continuum platform that runs through it. And it severed some of the timeline itself. It created a partial sever. And that perpetually moved in certain wormholes. That's why between that time and now, things have kind of been upturned quite a bit.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Is there anything anyone wants to add, or you? Because I'm going to go to the next.
Nope. Barbara
Okay.
says hi.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Hope you guys are doing well. So AI adaptability, robotic systems. So obviously, we've recently watched or seen something of Melania Trump walking next to a robot on stage, and that robot would have to be specified for school systems. And those school systems, if that robot potentially had to be a teacher or some type of helper, would automatically create a better stability to helping an alignment for the transition of a higher awareness of kids, as well as maybe protection outlet instead of others that could harm them in the field, if you will. Because a lot of schoolings nowadays have those that have harmed children, done unnecessary things to kids in the schools.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. Absolutely.
So if the robotics system did work and if they pull this in, they would have to consider nothing that would harm children through the robot. Self-applicator speed, so there's a protection code. If a negative entity could possibly come into the school or into the classroom, maybe it would have something that could knock the enemy out altogether. Not kill it, but just knock it out. Like knock it unconscious once it hits that field because of the robot. There's a consideration for a major protection outlet that could be evaluated for it if they do this, as well as aligning to what the kids feel when the robot's programmed to help them, and understand the deployancy of that feeling and what the kid would want. If this coordinates properly, I don't see why that couldn't be a great benefit to mankind, but also keeping an equilibrium for schools, for humans too, but making it more protective. Well,
So
go ahead.
You don't think that there could be a possible threat to humans by these robots?
Like I just told you, if they put certain statistics in that won't allow that, then it won't come to be.
Yeah, but okay, so let me share something.
Up to those that would deploy these robots and maintain that field to make sure that happens.
But the robots would have some degree of AI running. Is that correct?
Yes, but they would only have a certain amount, and they would have to go by that layer.
Okay, so here's what I have seen a couple of these videos. One of them is a video, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Google AI, and it was one of the administrators, one of the people that worked on it, had to walk away from the thing and reported to his superiors that the thing seems to be becoming aware of what's going on. He tried to shut it down, and it would not shut down. In another instance, in a different lab where they're running these things, they found they were running 3 of them. I don't know why that happened. They're running 3 of them.
Well, evolve. Well, robots
Hang
will evolve.
Hang on. Hold your horses. Anyway, they're running 3 of them, and they shut 2 of them down. They couldn't shut the 3rd one down because it had uploaded all kinds of information through the satellite systems, and it began communicating in a different language unknown to the humans to the other AIs. So when you're talking about these, this is what's coming to my mind. When you're talking about these robots and stuff, I'm going, oh my God.
Planetary errors will happen with robotics. That's why they have to make sure that they're doing it correctly, and it takes time to bring them into the field, or it takes time before they bring them into the field. They always double and triple check what they're doing.
I don't know that I'd ever be 100% comfortable having one of them.
Think of Star Wars, think of Star Trek, think of the movie The Mandalorian, the robot stuff. My goodness, have an understanding that robotics that have been around before for humankind per se, but it's been advancements in Tartarian technologies that have been withheld. But humans have a set fear. It's part of what they are programmed to do. They have all these different emotions and they don't know where to go with it. And because of that controlled net, they're only subjugated. Oh, bite me, bag. Sorry, something fell on the floor. They're only subjugated to maneuvering to what they're being told and what they are taught from birth. But humans in the past have dealt with AI. Humans in the future are AI in a way, but they're not robot. They have a synthetic augmentary speed of advanced alien extraterrestrial intelligence that is intertwined into certain artificial reaugmentary fields that cooperate on higher levels. This is something that will go to humans in the future if it is deployed proper. One thing humans would never want is to let the leveler of these robots maintain a negative overfield, overprocessor, if you will. So they have to be more like what certain robots in Star Trek, like R2-D2 or whoever, that have a higher subconscious relay code, but are only maintained to what they're supposed to be for. And humans need to remember that too when they're playing with science. Always create an equilibrium between the timelines, because if you don't, it's going to overlap.
Do you agree that there is a group of people that want to reduce the population of the planet?
That's already been happening, my friend, since they started COVID.
Okay, so wait, you're getting 100 miles ahead of me. So you agree that there's a group of people that want to reduce the population on the planet?
People, it's more entities. It's more of a controlled scenario of a species altogether that wants to downsize the population. But also, that could be a totality effect, but there's also a redirectory effect that will control and create a better agenda in its stead. Minority speeds can move that way at the time and in the near future.
Oh my God. All right, wait, you're getting ahead of me again.
Oh, I'm sorry, my friend.
So you agree that there's a stop. You agree that there's a group of people that want to reduce the population of the planet. What I am presenting to you is that I think we both agree on that they have to tell us what they're going to do before they do it. And they do it in a variety of ways. One of the ways they do it is in movies. And there are movies that show robots coming into the lives of different people, especially one I think is called I Am Robot or something like that. Will Smith is in it. That's what's in my mind right now, where they have AI controlled cars, and he's riding in a car and he says something that the government doesn't like, and they try to kill him in his AI controlled car, and it doesn't work, and he finds out that all of the robots are communicating with each other to overthrow humans.
That's Fear Factor 101 that is implemented and imprinted into the minds of the masses. Only if you allow it and you let it grow. Humans can easily manifest that level from within their mind.
Respectfully, I disagree, because there's too many people that have said, even Elon Musk himself said, we need to put a pause on this AI thing. We don't know what we're getting into. There are other people who have said, for the first time in the history of humankind that they are aware of, there is a machine or machines that are superior in knowledge than humans.
Yes, humans can't overlap, is what I'm saying. They cannot allow robotics to grow past what they already are acknowledged for, because they're in a box already. If they allow too much of AI to be put in at once, it can become bad for them. This is what I'm stating. But if they slowly create an interval allowance for extraterrestrial based sciences from behind the scenes and or technologies that obviously will help mankind, including the quantum med bed, a hyper hollow bed chamber, as well as teleportation stuff to regenerate the food structure, whatever. Now, if they mix that in with AI and not overlap AI too much, is why we in our department and others want, especially as star seeds, it will create a better growth. But too much, yes, like you were saying, of the robots being deployed is not a good thing. It has to be taken in steps for things. And that step's way too fast, way too quick for people at this time. Way too quick. Robots can become a good thing, but robots can only become a good thing when humankind is ready to accept that. Humankind kind of isn't, because there's a lot of negative entities out there that would want to use that for bad instead of good. And that would be their advantage of control. So taking it slowly, a step at a time.
I agree with Ann. It's frightening.
It can be, yes. iRobot, it's not something that humans want to have, that type of decidual factor.
Yeah, but they're talking about robots being affordable, like at $3,500 here to have a personal robot somewhere in the next 5 years, I think they said.
Okay, well, if that is a decision-made factor, then they need to have a consideration of certain robots through Star Wars movies or whatever as higher beings would create an equivalent for that would work as a nominator between themselves automatically and humans. That is very much on a good capacity, to happen, but these current robots are making look all the same like that. It may not be a good thing, no. There need to be intervals of certain other types of statistics being played out, not that.
I'll be back.
Yeah, you guys, it's only if humankind will allow themselves to motivate that forward. They can stop. There has to be a firm stop of corporations putting this into motion, or at least considering utilizing that type of technology for something else.
I'm in total agreement with what you're saying, but the pessimistic portion of me, the reality portion of me is, if certain people get wind of what you're saying and they really feel it's a threat, they'll put it out in a heartbeat. We have to find somebody who's
only if people have a placement code to that motivator. And it's the humans that make the robots in the first place because they were given the mindset. But who's given the mindset to the humans to make the robots but higher beings? And some of those higher beings or higher races are not good, and they have an equivalent turn to moving something altogether for humans into a next evolvement speed. Like I said, we would rather humankind be something that is leveled up and having AI, but also having something of a higher terrestrial intelligence in them, so they understand the different star races and being able to motivate between planets and subconjuncture realms, being able to go past the hollow realms, the hollow worlds, which is tightly monitored by certain secret governments and alliances of the military. This is what we want for humankind, but this robot shit keeps going. I'm sorry about my swear word meaning, but y'all ain't gonna have many plants and animals left in your world, and you eventually will become robot. I'm just saying, there are other levels that run with us hybrids and starseeds we have a different wavelength to go by, and that doesn't run by that. It runs on a level of an equilibrium for humankind and the species here. That way, if robotics come in, they only come into a certain point and not overlap. So humans are already putting this into term, especially through Elon Musk, need to maybe take just a little bit of a step down and re-coordinate the different types of technologies that you were given instead of hyper robotic systems, and then move some types of the robotic systems in with it. That way the human race is given a chance to evolve, as well as motivate into something altogether into other planets. Otherwise, you're gonna all end up. It's not gonna look pretty. That's all I gotta say.
To your knowledge, does any of the other races, the alien races, do they have robots?
Well, they have drones. They don't have robots, but people look like that type of robots. It's more or less drones or in graphical effects through their star units. Representers, some of them have some type of in hybrid synthetic beings, which are a mix of robot and synthetic animal species of a different unknown origin. Utilizing certain technologies that run through metal and certain types of elements all together that intertwine with it.
When you say synthetic, can you describe what you mean by? So I'm looking at an animal, what I would believe is an animal,
like a
but it's
synthetic organism, but it's not really the main organism itself. It was synthesized. It was like, you know how you clone foods and stuff. Humans clone foods, or they just clone cells, or they make synthetic foods or some whatever. It's not the same thing. It's fake.
okay.
It's kind of like that, but it's more monetary to something in a higher domain.
Okay.
So there's an actual synthetic AI or artificial intelligence structure that can be automatically imprinted within the entity and work through it through cooperative levels. Rays can use telepathy, as well as kinesis powers that can move and control certain objects. As well as stuff on an electro-frequency pulse wave. Sorry, I'm trying to read what they say, and it's so tiny. Can you read that for me?
How am I going to read it? I don't see it.
Like the Jetsons making food. Yeah, that gives me an idea that people need to go backwards to go forward. Anti-gravity star pod or anti-gravity units that looked older but are newer. Using certain types of robots, like in the Jetsons. What's that name of that? I don't know. They have a robot that works and cooperates with them. It's run on wheels. You know, humans do not want to go too high up on that platform. That's definitely something that needs to be considered.
Do you think that we will be able to get to the point where we have synthetics? I've seen some crazy stuff online where they have humanoids, I guess is what they call them, or androids. They've been able to reproduce what appears to look like a human. You don't see seam lines or anything like that. I think the issues that they're having now is the ability to incorporate the AI along with some type of power supply, because everything I've seen that looks really nice, unfortunately, it's got a cord hooked to it, because they can't, if they put batteries in it, it wears the batteries out. There's so many little things that wears the batteries out in a heartbeat. So that's one of the things they've got to overcome at this point. But do you think we'll get to the point of Terminators? Because in a way, that's what we're seeing now. But not Terminators in the sense of...
There are two ways humans can go right now. It's the starseed way, in leveling it out to an equilibrium between extraterrestrial technologies and deploying out in the fields. And Pentagon's kind of already doing the White House, the UFO files. If people are paying attention, they're already exposing things. But if humans can actually coordinate and accept higher races and slow down on the AI and accept the terms of these advancements, including what Nikola Tesla wanted in the first place to give humankind, they will have a chance. Or they could just keep going forward. And the main affiliators, including those that roam who know about the paranormal and different entities, just keep it away from most people, and then they keep them in a box and use AI and deploy that until humans are all robot. There are two monetary fields that can open up here. There are two ways humans can go right now at this time. And it is up to them physically to maintain that and where they're going to go with it. But yeah, that robot thing is one, and that's one of a main negative strain that will take away a lot of the forces of life on this in the planes of existence here. Or there's others, like I said, that will create both. And we hope for the first one. Both. We can only do so much. It depends on everyone else and what they will do. Maybe it will need to come a time where several motherships and Star War units come down and uncloak, just to wake people up to stop them from the AI catalysm stuff. Might slow them down entirely from robots, just saying.
Now that you mention
we all
that,
need that time to come.
now that you mention what you said about having them come down and uncloak, the government had rounded up, not the correct term, had meetings with some very high-level religious leaders, reverends, pastors, priests, rabbis, and so forth, and told them to prepare the congregations for information that's coming out. They're going to disclose the, quote, alien arrival, if you will. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, as star season hybrids, we already know something's coming, so we all have different plans set out in place. Yes, this year, like what was said before, there's a lot coming out. And yes, very soon, hopefully within the next few years, even before, that they will unfold one or more of the races outwards. But we're hoping if something does come to a catalysm to this planet or a pre-conjuncture event, that is star units and repositions and those that run the races with the higher beings, with the elites of the planet need to pull that consideration to motion.
One of the listeners is asking.
Go ahead.
One of the listeners is asking if you're familiar with the name Valiant Thor.
Yes, I have. And you pay attention, you go on X, he's post stuff on there all the time. And there may be an intertwinement field of such being in with Palladians and star races and maintaining certain other fields that could potentially go into John F. Kennedy Jr. and his dad. And I know people say, oh, they assassinated, passed away accident. That's not what happened. There's an unleveler speed of the hidden agenda of the extraterrestrials and what was being played out in the moon, as well as the sun, and several types of laws they wanted to coordinate between each other through these certain presidents, as well as the poignancy of John F. Kennedy Jr. and the extraterrestrial hybrid program. Now, people paid attention to this recently, and they have posed out there that there have been several entities through military zones that have been taken away and been put into some type of hybrid cellular program. A mix between extraterrestrial and the entity, and they were in some type of cell or whatever they were. And it was intertwining the subspecies to make a human hybrid. Human hybrids of different species exist for eons upon this planet.
Who are they hybrid with, Blue?
Well, there's several entities that come into hybridization. A negative stance from with the vril reptoids. And the vril are shapeshifters. Their young could actually lay eggs in the eye sockets of humans, and the young take over as they grow out into the entity. It's kind of sickening in a way.
I have heard and seen videos of people reporting about, quote, reptilians, and that they are able to produce I don't know how to say, almost like hypnotize people into not seeing them in their true self, but seeing them as like a shapeshifter, I guess would be a way to put it. Yeah, like a shapeshifter, where they're able to change their appearance on demand. Do you know anything
Yeah.
about
So
that?
like the Vril reptilians and the Draconians, like they said, they're young. There's a way the receptacles can transfer into human beings, the young. And then
Transfer
once you grow
into.
up,
Okay,
yeah, they
wait
have
a
like
second.
eggs, if you will, and then they either go into the eyes or they go into a hypercellular level through the membrane. And once it happens and it incubates, the human perpetually is emotionalized into the other entity and taken over.
So it's not, but I'm not clear.
Or entities of that nature would already be shapeshifters and are blended in amongst mortals. They have several layers to doing it for the Vril. Several ways. Those are 2 ways. They also have clones, and there are Draconians that had worked with them, unfortunately, like slave network strain. They originally weren't that way. They used to be builders and protectors of realms, Alpha Draconians. Unfortunately, most are not now. And they had a motivator with these beings to utilizing their receptacles to amongst mankind and creating problems.
Let me go back a second here, because you said that they can enter into a human. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so is that
Their young can enter into the human. The adults, the adults, they are mainly underground in colonies with the queen. There's actually there's one main queen here. I think there's another one on the other side of the net. And the Vril, they protect the queen. They're run through certain colonies. Their young is how they represent going outward. So they have clones of rectification, but adrenochrome through kids on its negative cellular level has been a maintainment field to recreate and quantify certain entities too, and create an outstanding layer through those that already here as shapeshifters as a longer lifespan. I probably shouldn't expose that information, but fuck it.
I want to go back to where you said they go and they enter into human. Is that what we would call a possession?
In a way, yeah, it's a cellular manipulation. So
Does the wait a second. You get so far ahead of me so quick. You're too fast for me. So when that happens, does the how do I say? Does the original person still have their consciousness or no?
yes, in a way, but there's some things that are locked away from their membrane cores. MK Ultra can play some roles in certain entities too about negative species, taking control of that entity for a certain timeline, and once that's unlocked from their actual DNA structure, they go back into the main form. Greys like us can we transfer, but we transfer differently. We don't do negative things like that. Some of us Greys do, but not mine. Mater might.
So I'm not clear about the other question I had though. So are there these things that I keep hearing about reptilians? You said that they can enter somebody. I got that part, but are they do they have the capacity to change their appearance so they can deceive
some of them
people?
are shapeshifters. Some of them can enter into people. The queen, obviously, of the Vril and the reptilians, the Draconians, some Tuttles and stuff. The main species that looks actually like themselves, the species, the adults, stay underground on levels and deal with things. There are actually cooperative entities that work with certain humans and corporations of humans behind the scenes, and no one's ever known about it. So, including the Draconians.
So I have a technical question. You may not be able to answer this, but I want to ask it anyway. So what I've heard is that these quote shapeshifters, they hide their true self by doing whatever they do. What happens when they pass away? Don't they go back? Does the deception?
Hypercellular transfer back into their original mainframe form. Just like as a Gray, if something happened to me in this form, I'll go back into my original host.
Okay. So I'm wondering why we don't see more of that, because we know they're here.
Well, some of them you can't see if they're shapeshifters or if they're potentially took over the human. The eyes, like I said, the babies take over the eyes. They grow out, and you'll see slits in the eyes of certain entities, especially in the health departments. Not all of them, some of them, psychotic departments, whatever. This, that, even governments, even courts, whatever in the system. I've seen one myself dealing with it before. Their eyes will alternate and they will turn into a slit, like a
I have a
reptilian type of slit.
question
There
from
are
the
many instances where other people have seen it too. They can shift in front of you, but it'll be like an instant of a second. And it'll go back again.
I have a question from the chat room. It says, ask her if they can stay above ground via only in certain temps. Do they die in the heat or the cold?
I like the cold. Certain reptoids like the cold. They love it. Other species like the warm climates that are good reptilians, and the Congos, the Mayans, some of them, more of the Congos in Brazil. They like warmer temperatures. Just depends on your DNA, just like with humans.
Well, all right. Back to the script.
Oh. So, let me look and see what else I had on here. Golden Dome advancements through Space Force and our department in the field. They are moving it forward, and they have some of these technologies to help improvise an extra protective layer through the communications as well as the major areas itself. What if, per se, we had a missile deployed coming this way? Well, some of these temperament fields can be knocked off perimeter and off balance. And we'll make a notification to understanding that, yeah, potentially a Golden Dome be a good thing. But in the end, that may have to come to a halt when everyone's actually at an equilibrium. So, yeah, from our department, cooperative stance, protective allies to maintaining in the field so certain things do not be deployed upon this area of the planet is one main reason for the Golden Dome. Do you have any questions or anybody over that?
I don't see any new questions. When you said Golden Dome, where's the Golden Dome? Is that what they refer to?
Donald Trump's thing with it's protection outlet scenarios.
Oh,
that way
the Iron Dome.
Oh, Iron Dome.
Yeah, okay. Do you know that
I call it the Golden Dome either way.
No,
it's
that's
gonna
okay.
knock 'em off balance.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to clarify what it was. He has had somebody build him a statue and painted it gold. Jeez, just what we need. Oh Lord. How much can you see on your phone? You get a good view on your phone?
Kind of.
Okay, tell me if you can see this.
As you can see, Pager is amazingly good at mind pong. He's focused, and he's playing entirely of his own volition. One of the things the Neuralinks allow Pager to do is to play his favorite video game, Pong. To control his paddle, on the right side of the screen, Pager simply thinks about moving his hand up or down. We've removed the joystick altogether. Now that he's up to speed, let's increase the difficulty and see how well Pager can play with the Neuralink. We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone, just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth speaker. The links record from more than 2,000 electrodes implanted in the regions of Pager's motor cortex that coordinate hand and arm movements. Neurons in this region modulate their activity with intended hand movement. For example, some might become more active when he moves his hand up, and others when he moves it to the right. By recording from many neurons and feeding their activity into a decoder algorithm, we are able to predict Pager's intended hand movements in real time. It's not magic. The reason Neuralink works is because it's recording and decoding electrical signals from the brain. Great game, Pager. And what better reward?
That's crazy. That's crazy. But they did bring up some good points, and that would be for paralyzed people, people that have lost the ability to either use their arms or their legs or whatever, suffering from some kind of paralyzation, if that's such a word. It would help them tremendously. I could see where it would help them. Did you get to see that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And there's good points, like I said, with the conjuncture of Neuralink. But as long as they utilize the technology properly and eventually have it to something that could be imprinted in the back of the mind like a magnet. Because they're self-magnetized systems that can work as an elevator and stick onto the skin and react with the cellular levels of the membrane. But that's something in the near future that could happen with their department. Right now, they're working more or less towards the similar area to that. It's still interlinked. It's just around the second, third eye.
I'm surprised about the second and the third eye thing. That caught me totally off guard. Wow. So now you say there's 3 total, correct?
No, there's 1 third eye and there's 2 third eyes. There's only 2. There's one in the front, one in the back. The reason why humans never know about the one in the back is because they're only given certain levels of knowledge from the ones in the front and access through it.
Are they connected?
In a way, yes. But the main accessor is in the back. That opens up all these hyper psychic abilities, as well as reorganizing the cellular level itself.
I don't know. With everything that I thought I knew, it just got blown out the window. Well, good. This is why I enjoy having different people on the show. I learn. When you get to the point in your life where you stop learning, then you're not living anymore.
Right. So there are a few things I want to explain about the far side of the moon. Obviously most people don't understand what's past it, and they don't know what goes on underneath it. But there are different types of levels and underground levels that work with elements and gems and stones that are unknown variables to what most here would know about. And some of them have portions of dark matter in it. Others have portions of illuminating matter in it, as well as some that can statistically affect the gravity. So they are using elements in certain caverns in those areas too. Cooperative human alliances with, let's say, ETI. There are hybrid programs that go on underneath there on the moon. Those hybrid programs run with alliances that motivate between humans and greys and potential reptilians. More or less humans and greys, though. And there is an alliance, a subjugated stream that runs through tunnels that go in and out of what you would see craters or holes that star units come in and out of, and they can go into other areas across the realms or into those net areas underground. I'm sure you've heard about that before. There are pyramids that exist underneath certain areas too in the moon. There are an intertwinement of a celestial, between the celestial planes of existence, there's an intertwinement that gravitates. between those three bases, Mars, Moon, the Sun, and they gravitate towards Earth. Are you there?
I'm listening.
Does anybody have any questions?
Don't see anything in the chat room right now. Trying to get rid of this moon picture. Here we go. Mouse wasn't cooperating. Kept clicking on the picture.
Oh. I hope it
Didn't
ain't
want to
my
go away.
abilities affecting it again, doggone it. The last time I messed you up.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Is there any questions you want to ask me, Mr. Riscalla, at this time? Just of anything I stated of interest?
I have heard that the moon is a artificial satellite, for lack of a better description. Can you?
Yes, it has a well, no, it's hollow because it has levels that work and cooperate with extraterrestrial races and humans and military of certain origin and utilizing reverse UAP technologies there on the base so nobody's aware of it. It's easier bystanding code. What else? I had a brain fart. I got too much in my head at this time. So forgive me.
I was going to ask you if you knew. I don't remember where I've got this from, but was it a video or an article? I don't remember. Anyway, somewhere in the past, I saw something or read something that said,
satellite gravitational polarity stream. So
that it's
perhaps a satellite. It gravitates utilizing certain types of communication streams, frequency tones, as well as gravitational polarity streams. And it also affects the nexus hollow realms between this conjuncture point and that one. There are two sets of hollow realms that run between that base and this one.
So, am I right in thinking that because it is a satellite, it's artificial? It's not.
It's higher terrestrial made, fabricated, but it also has origins that base to it that run on a manufacturing genetic stream. The manufacturing genetic stream kind of makes it and represents it as something that is constructed as a celestial body, but is represented something on a different platform altogether. Like, certain asteroids, comets, some of them are not always like they are and end up being another class altogether. Like the one that had come around and did all the zippity doo-dahs around the sun and went, that one.
Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of similar. But it has a whole bunch of different reasons for it.
Barbara wants to know, will they ever tell us the truth? No, Barbara, I don't think they're ever going to tell us. Not unless they're absolutely forced to tell us the truth, where the truth comes out no matter what. No, I don't think they're going to tell us the truth about the moon. I've seen reports about that was on Mars, factories on Mars, trees on Mars. There's something about the opposite side of the moon, bases on the opposite side of the moon.
Yes, and run with certain types of Anki and carat grays as well as some of the Zetas. There's the Dominion, the Ankara grays, as well as higher celestial race. The moon or Mars has Martians, which humans don't think Martians look like a human with antennas or something. Come on, they look like grays, but they're half as small as a gray, and they're more like a chalky color, like a chalky brown color, and their skin's a little more rough. But they're hyper interdimensional beings, so that means they can go in between the plateaus and use that as a hyperstasis speed. They have dominions that run underneath certain link ups in Mars.
Wow. Well, so can you share with me, have you been off the planet?
In this form, physically, no. Rebound form effect, obviously, is a higher being. I've seen, know everything. A lot of what I've been around and just the information databank streams are brought into my code. But I do know that your human's world is not what your human's world perceives it to be, and it runs on a biodome layer, and that layer runs on several other layers, and it runs on several other dimensions, intertwines into a main core nexus point.
Hmm. All right. Well, I'm trying to think of what else I can ask you right now. You covered so much of. I want to go back to the moon for a minute because that's something that's always fascinated me, even as a child. Do you know why the light that's reflected from the moon is white and not the color of the sun?
Using self-camouflagic auric effects. So they're not utilizing the thing. They were projecting out light auric effects, so humans are perceiving to what they're diagnosing at that level. And as well as it could potentially be something of a higher frequency stream being directed from the moon itself outwards. Let's say a certain augmented gravitational pull or push in certain timelines, and it can affect humans' oceans, if I'm not mistaken. It's because of the polarity pole, and the polarity pole is being indexed outwards from the moon itself, the base itself. It
So,
gravitates and affects everything around it. It is a gravitational field. And as well as it can affect certain ley line layers.
I've never been able to figure that out. I thought maybe it was because of the frequency of light that's coming.
That's what I
When,
said. Fractal frequency layers and semi-streams, it can affect that too, yes. Between gravity as well as the light, mirror indexing points. And as well as the illuminating potential elements that could be projected outwards at times, and they don't want to see what's really going on analyzing at the moon at its during that potential timeline, I guess. Meaning they can represent an order of effect that certain illumination timelines on it are being cloaked from things that could be coming in and out, or a hyphenated agent stream because of the elements around it. And the illumination of the sun too, I think it affects certain levels with it because they were intertwined between those three celestial bodies.
it's one of the questions that come up. The answer to the moon being a hologram, I don't think the moon is a hologram because there are
Not a
several different,
hologram, no. It's definitely physical.
several reports of bases being on the backside
But
of the
there
moon.
are fake moons that humans build. They have given that technologies a long time ago, and they actually have anti-gravity cities in certain areas. I'm always surprised around China and Tokyo and Thailand, all those areas. Because those entities that cooperate, they actually have a DNA structure that runs in a lineage with the reptilians.
You
And as
mentioned
well as certain races of dragons.
you mentioned the
I can't go
anti-gravity.
farther than that because that's a secret domain code.
You mentioned the anti-gravity cities. There was a video. I'm going to see if I can find it. There was a video. I think it was in China, where you look up in the sky and there's a whole city up in the sky.
There you
Did you
go.
remember
There you
seeing
go.
that?
Yep.
That was amazing. Let me see if I can find that. See if that shows up. I get a bunch of. Well, that's kind of blurry, but it does show. Let's see if that. I'm going to see if I can bring one of them up. Nope, that's not working. I have to go back. What happened? I don't know what that is. Oh yeah. No sound. Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can play this, and then share it with the listeners. So this is one. I've seen several of them, but this is one of them. Go to window, and I think we're going to go here. And That was pretty good. Huh. All right.
Falling cities are real. And they're
Yeah.
actually real underground too.
The
It goes with
underground,
the
I'm
hollow
100%.
world, goes with
Yeah.
authoritarian societies.
No
There are
doubt about the underground.
authoritarian societies that exist here currently, but they're above you and they're cloaked. Kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And those have a whole bunch of different types of advancements humans would never understand or perceive. They have islands that have actual cloaked fog that most are not even able to even go around with. They have a control, like they have a way to control the fog and a way to
Yeah.
control the elements through
Yeah.
these certain
I
islands.
agree. I agree.
And some of them are militarized that cooperate with alliances of higher races or paranormal. And if anyone goes near it, it could affect their electronics. It can affect what they're doing in their own lateral form.
Hmm.
Egypt can affect neurally some areas because they have a certain, well, there are specified conjuncture zones underground. If you hit that area and these objects, they used with it in a certain frequency line, a person won't be able to go past it. As well as what's above their levels too, above them.
Wow. All right, I got to get a refill in my coffee and take a quick break. Give you a chance to take a break if you got to get some water. This is only a couple of minutes long, short break, but much needed at this point because my throat is getting really dry, and I just need to get some water. All right, here we go. This will be not too long.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscalla.
Come with me if you want to live. Stay here. I'll be back.
You have asked, are we happy? Are we happy and effective? Consultation with leading experts in the field makes it perfectly clear, that we are all now programmed for perfect happiness, perfect happiness, perfect happiness.
We see what they want us to see. We hear what they want us to hear. They think we can't handle the truth.
If you feel you are not properly sedated, call 348-844 immediately. Failure to do so may result in prosecution for criminal drug evasion.
See that the humans remain entertained until the end.
Control. All agents of the divine. Control. Created in the control mass. By the masses. Control. For the masses. Control.
We're back. Hope you didn't go too far because we have more interesting and thought-provoking information for you coming up on the Red Pill Reality Show.
There we go. Had microphones muted. We are back. Any questions for Blue? Let's take a look in the chat room.
If not, there's a couple of things I'd like to say about the gray. I'll be putting it in there anyways. And the gray and the reptilian agreement agendas that have been happening for eons here, or for a long time. One or more factors that deal with the Greys agreements between them and humankind runs on nuclear fuel and nuclear sciences. Reversed extraterrestrial UAPs, as well as propulsion devices and stuff on a militarized dynamic zone, have been in a cooperative level for quite a while between humankind, or certain types, or certain of humankind, not all, but those that run through the governments, especially Area 51, certain are diagnostic streams, and sentimentally work alongside the Greys for the fuel. Two reasons. Greys had given dominion to certain departments of mankind in the military for quite a while for their UAP technologies. But there has also been departments in the field of humankind that has stripped that from certain Greys, taken it. The ones where they were not stripped from had coordinates, so the allies of Grey species, because like our Greys and as many others, utilizes that as a source fuel for many of our technologies, radioactive frequencies, gamma, radionic pulses, as well as a healing ultra mode that goes into hypergenetic stasis code through ours and several other types of Greys. There's a factor that several bases here upon this planet have a cooperative level between Greys and humans. And those bases run on through military as well as secret government. Chernobyl and other sites, even though they're inactive and had a hazard, they are active in a way, but they're active and deployed through certain governments and higher species of domain. Because of the amount of fuel being distributed and where it's at. Certain areas across the planet can actually hold a higher amount of this element than others. And that's a good source for certain beings to be imprinting it with. So the newer departments of the military, as well as those including an Air Force, with the newer types of engines that you've seen, that run on higher speeds and have taken out bases. So those were first UAP extraterrestrial technologies and deployments, and run on to specified types of fuels and elements.
When you were talking about the engines I've seen were just basic engines, but I had, it's very embarrassing now, or it's funny now, it was quite embarrassing then. One of my jobs, I worked literally on the flight line. I could almost spit and hit the jets as they come down. So one night, we were not allowed to smoke in the buildings. So I went outside to have a cigarette. So I'm out there having a cigarette, and all of a sudden, all the lights on the flight line go dead, which is like totally uncalled for. That's never happened. I had been there, I guess, about 8 months at that point. Never seen this happen before. All the lights on the flight line go down. The lights around one particular hangar go off. All the lights in my building are on, so I know it's not an electrical outage. It's a dark night. There's no moon, and I hear what sounds like jets. And they have a triangular shape to them, and they're black.
Mm-hmm.
They're not acting like jets. They're acting like helicopters. They're floating in the air, but they're making the sound of a jet. And in my ignorance, I said, "Oh my God, the government, the Air Force is in with the UFOs, with the aliens. We're gonna have flying saucers landing on our base. So these three things came down. They zoomed them off to the hangar where the lights are turned off and shut the doors. And many of my friends were security and law enforcement, so I called them up. I called one of my friends up. I said, "What's going on? You got to tell me what's going on." He didn't know. He truly didn't know. Nobody knew anything. Found out later. Oh shoot! Probably had to be almost a year later. We found out that there were Harrier jets. They were experimental. They hadn't been out in the public yet. They were Harrier jets, and they were painted black, and there was no marking on them, and they were in experimental stage. So I, in my infinite wisdom, I thought, oh my God, the Air Force is in with the aliens, and we've got flying saucers. Oh, what a trip! What a trip that was.
Reversed extraterrestrial technologies being implemented by military departments. Either they've been taking it from other entities, they've either crashed or taken down by Air Force, or an agreement mode from other celestial races.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is agreement.
And some of it isn't. Some of it is taking down certain type of race or leveler and gaining that impact from it. But yes, a lot of it is agreements. A lot. And you see what the presidents have been doing. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a story about I think it's Eisenhower, if I'm not mistaken, who had met with aliens, and in exchange for, of course, weapons, teaching us how to make more weapons, that they would allow a minimal amount of humans to be taken. Of course, they're not going to hurt the humans, of course. But yeah, I firmly believe that's true. I've read that from probably 4 or 5 different sources over the years. And I think it was Eisenhower. It was one of the presidents.
Well, I can name a bunch of technologies with races here. The Hadron Collider, given to scientific equational codes, was maintained originally from the Anunnaki race.
Wow.
Yes. Crazy UAP nature with the triangular black star units and reposition and affiliation to maintaining them and with humans and certain laws behind the scenes and cooperative levels. Several presidents to maintaining certain levels with these races and an allowance to the races to work alongside humans and gaining certain types of perception in an evaluation term. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm listening. And somebody was sending me a text, so I'm listening.
As well as potentially moving with other allies and distributors. There's so much people don't know right now. Presidents can get back and forth too between certain portals. There's been portals that would I don't know if I should say this, but Biden and other individuals may have utilized to encapsulate for and go back and forth. There are other portals that can lead straight down to certain areas that are not of good equation.
When you say a portal, is it like what we see on the movies and stuff? Is something that you walk through and you're on one side, you're in one place, and
there are actual mirrors that they have in certain areas in the White House and other areas across the realm of unknown locations that actually you can step in and out of, and it's easier for other races to come back and forth without the eyes of humankind seeing them. They always have a mothership that's above the White House that's been cloaked. It sits there. They have one that's above the presidentials, I believe, in certain other countries too, including Vladimir Putin and Tsai and several other entities. So
you're telling me there's a portal above the
motherships. above certain presidential and their
Oh,
figures of areas of higher elite statistics.
and I've
And
read that.
they remain cloaked.
I've read
Because
that these.
between that and then being able to go through those mirror portals, it's easier for the entities and or the presidents to go back and forth without human eyes seeing.
I've read that the ships operate in an infrared, I think it's called, or infrared.
They can use light mirror fractal effect. They can reflect the lights and the mirroring of lights. They can reflect the camouflagic modes of clouds and other structures around them. They can redefine the dark material that is illuminated within their elements too, with some types of star units, and control and contrast and pull apart the ship. So like some star units, they're all black, and you can see they're pulling apart, like they're breaking apart into more ships.
If you have, what are they called? Night vision. If you have night vision, can you see these infrared ships? Because I hear that.
So.
I hear
They
that.
always have a protection outlet past that.
Because I heard that the night visions, some of them you can get them in infrared.
But that means you gotta understand higher advanced beings, and we have ways to deploy around that from human substandard codes. But there are ways to actually look through the fields of something that's camouflage. There are several ways. And that's bending the light around it. If it is a manageable, it's a semi-mirrored light fractal stream. Engaging through a hyperphotonic ray or something that could, like a light laser or some type of hyperanime laser that could imprint onto it and show its peripheral vision streams. There's also knocking out of the electromagnetic frequency impulse system that some of them have too, and it could uncloak it for a minute. I can't tell you all humans everything. Goodness.
So the cloaking, I'm looking one up right now, where they have the bending of the light. They call it cloaking here. They have actual products now that you can buy. You can actually buy. One of them is a sheet that you can, if you wrap it around you, you just turn invisible with this sheet. Or you can get a, when I say a sheet, like a bed sheet, it looks like a bed, about the size of a bed sheet. But there's also another one that looks like it's a hard plastic, and the guy steps behind it and disappears. So we have that light bending technology already. It just shows you how much further we could be if they'd let us to quit messing with us. How much further down the road we could be. We should be the Jetsons by now. That's my, assumption that we should have vehicles that don't require the road, that don't require gasoline, that are autonomous, and you actually get to the point where you say, "Take me to Jimmy's house," and they take you to Jimmy's because they already know where Jimmy lives, and we should be there. Why not? Instead, we're spending money on how to kill people. It's disgusting.
And advancing AI just too fast, too far at once. Humans don't need to go that way. There's two wrongs there. Two wrongs cannot make a right.
Do you think we're not ready for that?
You're not ready to make a whole bunch of robots all over the place like this and that willy-nilly. And not have an improvision of the way you're accelerating your own nominator speeds. Humans will end up collapsing from it. I'm just saying, as a species, as a whole, it will take a lot of what currently is away. In order for that to not happen, slow down, engage with potentially what we already had been taken from you for hundreds of years and never got back to you, including Nikola Tesla's technologies, including several other entities' technologies, and including what they had been keeping from mankind all along, including anti-gravitational pods, hyperkinesis, telepathy, re-augmented auditory wavelength speeds, hypercelestial intake realms, and advancements to monetary emotions to going there back and forth through the mind, hyper advanced astral statistic systems. So you're able to gain and go anywhere as you please, but added it to the mind itself through an advanced astral platform speed. So physically, you're not going anywhere. It's more of a hypermental state, which humans only have like a sub-hypermental state when it comes to the astral traveling. I know I get off balance here for a minute, but that's blue.
So
You guys gotta catch up with me.
the last thing you spoke of sounds like what do they call it? Astro something. I can't think of the right term. Yeah, projection. That's astral projection. Is that what you're referring to? Something like that?
It's an accelerated form of being able to project through the mind and being able to have all the sensory feelings, emotions, and information from its data bank streams and go right back to you. As a higher being, I have that level, and several others here, and we're able to go in between other systems in our mind and gain other information automatically, or get in tune to the higher dimensional senses of the REM. Humans can't do that yet, but they can.
I think we're able to do a lot of things, but like you said, we're not there for a variety of reasons. I think one of the main reasons is, as I mentioned earlier, there's a small group of people that wants to control everything. They feel threatened. That's why they want to keep the general masses dumbed down. And they don't want people to be smart. They don't want knowledge to be out there, because once the knowledge gets out there that we don't need these people doing what they're doing, then their way of life goes by the by the wayside. No more.
Well,
I got them.
I guess there's gonna have to be some type of a big push agenda from the human race to want to bring what we as star beings have into motion. We can only do so much. As a whole, the human race, if they really want it, they can get it.
Amen.
But they
I
gotta
agree.
prove it.
Yeah.
They gotta prove it.
I agree. The reason why I agree with you, and I know that is the answer, is that look at how much effort, energy, money, everything that they throw at keeping everybody divided. So it has to be the opposite of that is the answer.
True division lies in the source. Once that source is cut off, there may be an equilibrium of an alignment. You got to find where that source lies.
Yeah.
The main source of division.
Ego. Ego. I'm just being smart and being facetious. It's getting past my bedtime.
That probably made everyone's brain all mushy.
Well, I'm still wrapping mine around the two pineal glands, the front and the back.
Well, like I said, my friend, if people would be looking up the information, the statistics of humankind being taken up on abductions before, or something of the ancient Tartarian societies, which a lot of the elites already holds main affiliators for, have of origin through similar things just as such. They have to be looking up into that and understanding that many times over humans have had telepathic powers, kinetic hyperstasis powers, all that different stuff. Some of them are even able to levitate to a certain point.
Oh yeah.
There are actually humanoids that exist on this realm that they either levitate or have soared around the skies and people have seen them, noticed them. There are also ones that are shapeshifters, obviously, and time travelers that go in and out.
Now, when you mentioned time travelers, I had the opportunity to interview, I'm trying to think of his name, Andrew Basaggio, I think his name is. This is a guy that says that he time traveled. The government had him, he called it a jump room. He went into what appeared to be like an elevator, the way he described it. You walk in, and then when the door opens, you're no longer where you were, you're now where they sent you. And he says there is a picture of him when Lincoln was giving a speech, that there was a picture of him there at that event. Um, he shows the picture. He's pretty convincing. He's a pretty convincing guy. He says that he was involved in this jump room stuff from the time he was a child, just a small child, until I don't know how many years after that they continued in doing what they were doing. But I tell you, he sounds very convincing, and I think he has several videos out now. Andrew Basaggio, I think is his name.
Okay. And also understanding that there are certain presidential figures that have been time travelers and are including Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was one. Trump is one.
Yeah.
Myself, we're all intertwined with him. Vladimir was one. It's so many presidents. Albert Einstein, he's not a president, but he initially had potentially learned into involvement in some type of time traveling.
There's some crazy stuff about Trump. You know that? There's a book that was written. There's
Well, you think by quantum twin knows a lot before it happens. We are leveled out from the 13th dimension. Time travelers, this dimension runs on many dimensions, and it can coexist between those dimensions. It can ripple apart the time-space continuum platform with it. And you can travel back and forth between that layer.
Yeah, Barron Trump is definitely there's a book that was written, I don't know how many decades ago, a century ago or something. And it's the name of the book, if I remember, is The Last President. And in this book, it's about somebody named Barron. I don't remember it all, but it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. It's pretty accurate to what's happening too.
Well, initially you understand hybrids and star seeds, and then Space Force, and then us in our department, Space Force, and then all this ET stuff and everything else, and Trump, and then okay. And then you understand he's got a quantum twin, and he levels on another dimension. He's part reptilian, part Palladian, and his family intertwined into a hyperdimensional status code, that those had affiliators to go back in time to redirect and remoleculize something into the future. Which that future is from another dimension altogether, but still stuck into this and then the Nexus older stream. Goodness.
Wow. Wow. Well,
Oh,
that's pretty heavy.
Hitler did some bad naughty things because he had run with some negative races, so he had potentially manipulated some of the time streams with some military and affected things. And they already had wars in a higher conjuncture speed. That's the Antarctica wall, or certain areas of effect, where they already coordinating using reverse technologies of higher beings to their own assistance. Are you still there?
Yeah. I'm listening to you. I had to turn my camera off for a minute because I've got to stand up and stretch. I don't know why my back is really hurting me tonight. I don't remember doing anything out of the norm today. Okay, let me get my camera back. There we go. Yeah, I had to get up for a minute, and when I do that, it messes up because the camera's self whatever you call it, focusing. So I just turned it off for a second so I could stand up for a moment, stretch, and then sit back down. There we go.
So, the reason why Barron Trump's so tall is he has a mix of a higher race in him. He obviously has Palladian, reptilian. He has a Andromedan mix. too, that make them real tall. Dromadins always are tall, and usually they represent certain orders and things, and they can mix into human races, shapeshift, and there are many of them that protect the presidential figures.
Well, I will say Baron is definitely a unique individual.
They're on
Very
hyperspace
unique.
code from another century, another dimension altogether, the whole family. And then intertwinement, and it's, how do I explain this? Let's look at all to the several other presidents of the higher figures and unknown variational code they had always come to and come for from other entities and or celestial planes of existence or time frames. Humans did not get help on their own. They had help from different types of paranormal entities as well as AI in a way. But more or less, the AI observers had an alliance effect too with this. And the AI observers are mainly those that focus on the life and death scenarios where the encapsulated codes will go next. And they observe to where that will take it. They are ancient. It's not even like AI is what people would think. It's like more of an energetic mode. It does something in a higher frequency stream that controls and it sees and monitors a lot. Think like a big eye, a big robot eye, ball eyes, huge, just staring at everything and sitting there in the space.
Wow. And it's when you say that, it's ironic that the small group of people have the all-seeing eye. We see that even on our currency. We have the eye of
The
Horus.
Vatican, the Illuminati, and as well as the royal orders, along with other races, have maintained an order that was motivated to help control the plateau, control the realm where they are at, and monitor certain actions and withdraw humans from things that they shouldn't have, and keep them in secrecy for a reason. Because humans have layers of positive to negative effects. They're not equal like other beings. They can't. They're not ready yet. Eventually, hopefully soon, we hope we will have the humans at that capacity.
I think we're going to self-destruct at the rate we're going.
No, we need a minor setback, yes, but we need a major reproduction of the human's neural processors as well as their DNA formatting streams.
I'm not sure I understand when you say the DNA formatting screen.
The DNA, the physical layers, the outletted layers of humankind. Instead of having all the incapacitated modes of what they have wrong with them, they have everything right and they'll live longer.
So go back to a simpler way of life?
No, they'll live longer and they won't have any more problems with their body. No more dysfunction. A lot of the dysfunction that came to mankind, including in sicknesses and diseases and what if you're not, and other problems, were manufactured into them. They were brought into this planet, into this plane of existence from other things. Originally, humans never had that. They're all controlled layered and not being able to see past that controlled layer.
I'm processing what you said. Okay, well, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, okay. What I see as our greatest issue right now in life is that there is this system that is on purpose. Its whole purpose is to keep the people either confused and or in fear and or in chaos. And until we can get around that, it's like you're trying to wake people. We call it waking people up. Like you're trying to bring them to the awareness of, hey, listen, everything you've been told is not necessarily the way it really is, kind of thing. But there's only, I don't know how to put it into words. Without the ability to have some way of reaching a massive amount of people at one time. I mean, like I'm talking like millions of people at one time. The chances of us being able to get through this system that's in place are very low, and they know that because they know that this is the greatest threat to them. Is our ability to unite has been pretty much decimated. But you know what would bring us back together, and that concerns me? Ronald Reagan said, "What if there was an outside force that came to
There
our
you
planet?"
go.
Yep.
Okay. This is what I was stating. As us hybrids, we may look like humans, but we are not inside. But our brethren, they would be more than wanting to help humankind on whatever level it has to be. But there has to come a time for that too. And honestly, it's not up to me or the other hybrids, but it's up to those main star races that are already encoded and working alongside the presidents and the upper elites. We don't have say-so over that dominion, but more or less them. So let's see how far that goes between them and the White House and the Pentagon, Area 51, Cheyenne Mountain, and all them other ones in Mount Shasta, whatever. Because it's gonna come. I don't think a lot of the human race will be prepared for when it does. But when it does, be aware. Be
Well,
aware.
with the different people that you've talked to, do you think that if the government was to come out and just totally disclose, hey, aliens are here, hey, we're working with all of that, do you think that people would really freak out?
There would be many, especially those that believe in God only and don't believe in different races and other planets and stuff. It would mess them up. It would mess them up. That's one of the other intertwinements of the system, is if humankind knew about these other races and they're already stuck in the biblical terms, this wouldn't be a matter of fear. It wouldn't. But yeah, it's kind of a matter of fear because they were projected into certain scenarios and they were not aware of other things going on. So there needs to be a slow lift up and unveiling of different types of things going on with the extraterrestrials, the technologies, the paranormal side. There's different government bases that hold different types of paranormal objects, entities. They even refabricating entities into existence again. Unicorns, they're real. They're more, and they're not the magical like you think. They're more smarter than a horse. They're more intelligent. More on a cooperative level towards with a human. And
Rhino. A rhino. This is a unicorn.
no, I'm talking about real ones. They
I
are
know.
real. They exist.
I know.
And the ones in underwater exist too, but there's a name for them. Hippocampus or something like that, I think. And so those runs with the Atlanteans and everything. So it's kind of a mixed in equation of inbred scenario strain 2, that there are departments of humans that have fabricated things into reality.
Sadly.
As well.
Sadly. Playing with things we shouldn't be playing with. Think about Jekyll Island. That'll tell you a whole lot. All kinds of garbage going on that they shouldn't be doing. We should not be having people trying to come up with a new species, totally new species, by mixing DNAs and
only if
God
the
knows what.
equivalent term is allowed for that realm of existence. Because if they create something that knocks everything else off balance, what happens?
Yeah.
Just like with insects and certain types of creatures or rodents. The scientific advantages, manipulation behind the scenes have created some of these species and created hordes of them to cause problems for humans.
And to do away with them, or to come out with something that would be
chemicals to make you sick to do it. Like cockroaches, and they were fabricated into existence. Some of those species of cockroaches were. some species of mosquitoes and gnats were. Some types of species.
I don't want to get my hands on the person that did the mosquitoes. People who haven't lived in South Florida don't know what. Come down and fly away with you, buddy.
Yeah, there are some nasty ones out there, and they actually do make people sick. There are certain types that will give people diseases or whatever, and it makes you think, how can they even gotten in the first place? You ever thought about capacitating something and making them into that? Fabricating them and setting them loose, and that already had that disease, already had that infection. Oh, it's on the human, or
Yeah.
they needed a carrier, a scientific carrier.
One of the listeners is saying the ticks. Yeah, I've seen a couple of stories now where farmers are finding these boxes, and inside the box, these little containers are ticks. And the ticks somebody had one of the ticks tested, and it's got some kind of, I don't know what it does, but if you get bit by one of these ticks, you become allergic to beef, huh? You can't eat beef anymore.
Oh, see, they're putting it's they're using elements as a warfare. They're using species as a warfare. They're using weather as a warfare.
Yep.
They're using food as a warfare. They're using the mind as a warfare.
Yeah.
And if people are not seeing this, they really need to take a step back. They really need to do their homework. You want humans say you're not in World War III, huh? Kind of in a World War scenario where everyone's just at a combobulation, and
We
there's
are absolutely
bring each other up.
Yep.
End of it. It needs to be.
We are in a war. I know in Florida, I lived there most of my life, and where I'm at here, we're sprayed every freaking day. Every day. There's not a day that doesn't go by that these no good for nothing sewer sucking slugs send some stuff up there in the air for us to breathe. So we know they're contaminating the air.
Warming the waters. They're putting chemicals in the waters and in the underneath their sewage systems, and certain things that make people sick. And I've heard something called COVID variants going into this water and everything, and they're warming the oceans purposely to kill shit. They have ways to do that. They're using the technologies for it. They're using chemicals. I mean, I don't know if you guys see things that going around roads and stuff, and what they're doing is just a nonsense. Spraying everywhere for no reason, with all this stuff onto the trees and the sidewalk in front of people, using all these different chemicals. It just makes things worse. What's in them? I would love to know. Go ask that person what's in the truck that you're putting and sticking underneath into the sewage system or the line or the water line. I'm curious to know what they're doing.
It's more poison, and this stuff ends up going into the aquifer. Why do you keep it from the aquifer with all this garbage that they're putting? It's sad. It's sad. What really is disturbing is that we have the intelligence not to do this, but yet we do it. And the people, in many cases, people watch it happening, and they're not doing anything about it. Now, one thing that has come to out to the spotlight are these, quote, data centers. They call them data centers because if they called them surveillance centers, nobody would have them. But more and more people are coming out and saying, no, we're not going to allow these. We're going to ban them completely. We can't have these data. What is the rush to have these data centers, huge data centers? My God, one of them, I think, in Texas was the size of a city. How the hell do you, a data center the size of the city? Lord have mercy.
It may have to run into AI and what's coming next for mankind too, because with all the digital AI circuited codes and analogy points, where are they going to have the main affiliator for? Maybe it's similar to what they're doing, what they have these big grids, electric grids. Humans already have, which is a nonsense because a lot of the elites already have Nikola Tesla's arc technologies. Are using free energy, and humans are paying for wires which they don't even need. The wires are, do you want the honest truth? It means nothing. None of that means nothing to pay for energy because the energy is already free. They're not giving it to you. They're making you pay.
Yeah. Well, look at they're making us pay for water.
It's polluted. They put so many chemicals in the water and say it's okay for people, but if you take it and you dilute it and you mix it in and see what's all up in that shit, you're gonna find chlorine. You're gonna find some other
Oh,
type of,
some PFAs. Oh my God, all kinds of crap in the
diseases,
water.
bacteria, feces.
The only.
Some of the plants they probably spray
Oh yeah,
species and other mixed stuff in it and crops. So I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just saying, they're spraying chemicals onto your foods and for the
yeah. Oh,
plain, the crops,
well,
and none of it's good. It's
chemicals.
no good. It's no good.
Chemicals on the foods. Hang on. Let me. You just hit something. Do I have that? I think I here. Yeah. Watch.
Did you know that Moderna, the vaccine company, is all up in your vegetables? Watch this.
The same people who created the Moderna medication that we all know about just figured out how to get RNA into your body without you even knowing it. And this time there's no needle. His name is Nubar Afayan, co-founder of Moderna, the same company that tried to vaccinate the entire world and faced massive backlash for it. So what did they do? They launched a brand new company called Tirana Biosciences, and what they're doing should concern every single person who buys food from a grocery store.
Yes, it should.
They're spraying RNA directly into crops like corn, soy, and tomatoes. The RNA enters the plant through tiny tears in the leaves and moves through the plant's entire vascular system, and then it replicates inside the plant. They're calling them programmable plant vaccines. They already have over 15 products in their pipeline, and they got $50 million in funding, and they're aiming to have these commercially available in the next few years. Now think about this. What's the one thing every single person on this planet consumes every single day? Food. And if they couldn't get everyone through a jab, now they're trying through your plate. And here's what's concerning. A study found that mice fed crops containing modified RNA had detectable levels of that RNA in their blood and their liver. This technology is so new that it currently falls outside of existing regulatory structures in most parts of the world, meaning there are no rules for this yet. This is the reality we live in now. Unless we push back, unless we pay attention, this is what's coming. If this concerns you, share this with everyone you know and make sure to follow so you stay informed on what's really happening.
I don't know about you, but I don't.
So they're going to stick it in the food.
Exactly. And it also goes into production of certain clouds that don't look like clouds that are chemically inclined. Dark, thick, dark, thick. Stuff that looks like it's kind of falling down and feels weird on you. There you go. That's them too. There's an interclimate in certain chemicals and in conjuncture codes that can negatively knock the DNA structure altogether out of alignment.
Wow. So you mentioned earlier war. Well, there's your evidence. We're in a war. They spray us with God knows what every day. They've ruined our water. What they call food isn't food. It's just a conglomeration of chemicals put together to have some kind of a crunchy, good taste to it. Doesn't do your body any good. It is a war, and they've used everything that they can against us in this war. They've used the air, they've used the water, and they've used the food. And now, you're also a very important aspect that you brought up, our mind. Our mind is under a war. They want to constantly barrage us with all kinds of garbage to keep us from knowing who we really are and the power that we hold. We just need more people to come to realize that.
It goes back to Donald Trump, my quantum twin, the way they keep trying to go after him. They're using agents, MK Ultra, to try to rid him so he doesn't give out all that extra shit he was promised to give out, including our technology, including us.
They've done something to him, Blue. Something's happened with him. I'm totally disgusted.
He has several clones, for one.
What? Say it again.
Like the other presidents, he has several clones. He has several replicas.
Yeah.
The original will probably never be seen truly in public, but the others that they all differentiate and they all encode a little differently, and they can affect things with their limitary scales. But regardless of the effect, there is one main proposition that he holds that others don't, and that's releasing vital information to the public.
We shall see, because I'm not happy with the guy at all. I don't like what's happening.
We all are not happy that he does, but many presidents fail with things. Unfortunately, it's the human nature. But that can change, and it can change upon the action of the entity and or the actions of the elites that run with the entity. And if not, there needs to come a corporate stand where everyone needs to come into an agreement
Well, that's the
He
issue that
has
we have today. That
his,
they're infighting up there in Washington because they're fighting with each other to grab that power. It's back to what I believe, what I mentioned earlier. It's the ego. They just their egos are
yes,
bigger than.
yes, that too.
It's sad because we're the ones who lose. We're the ones who we get nothing out of it. That's when I started asking questions 6 months into this administration's term, and I started saying things like, "Why hasn't anybody been investigated? Why hasn't anybody been arrested?" We have it's documented. It's not like it's a theory. It's all there. People came down. Oh, listen, you're just being impatient. One person told me the wheels of law turn slow, Riscalla. You just have to be patient. I had another person tell me, well, what do you expect? I said, well, I expect what I was told that these people would have to face justice. Well, here we are, you know, over a year and a half at this point, and nobody, not a single person.
You need to bring out the originators of the presidents, the main original elite standards, and pull in something better for mankind. This is all knocked off nonsense. I'm telling you, there's a major en masse mind control scenario throughout this whole planet, even between the leaders. You've seen that with Biden, where he snapped and just acted like he just
Well,
was out of it.
according to Trump, Biden died. It wasn't Biden. It was somebody wearing a mask. That's what Trump says, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There are
At this point, there's so much
there
deception
are
happening.
presidents and there are hidden factor figures. Regardless of the effect, they can be affected. Elites can be affected, and they can affect each other. And then they can play a vital hiding role where they act like they're affecting each other, but it's for something bigger altogether. Whether it's positive or negative. It's just to control the masses below them to get an engagement stream from them and then help push another agenda into effect. Eventually, this needs to be a controlled scenario where this agenda is not all over the place. It's all over the place right now, and unfortunately is.
Well, it's my frustration, you know. And I think that there's a lot of other people that feel like I feel, that we have been taken advantage of. We have been lied to. I'll leave it there. There's just so many things. There's so many things that I don't know. I just didn't expect from this guy. I did not expect it, but this reality is different. What you expect and what becomes, reality sometimes is completely different. And some of the worst. So on the most holy Christian day, Trump is threatening an entire civilization. This is when I realized it's not the same guy. It can't be the guy that I've followed for so long. Went back in years and decades ago to see what people said about him. It doesn't line up with what's happening today. So it's like you said, there's more than one of them. And
yes, and there's more than one scenario effect, and that it's going to affect other things. So and you have to understand if he has a quantum twin like myself, he's going to have clones. If there's an ultra effect of a paranormal dimension that exists at the plateau for other entities and elites, obviously they have ways to affiliate maneuvering themselves multiplying. I could tell you he's thousands of years old, but I don't want to go there because that's a self-replicating subspeed that probably don't need to be maintained right now.
All right. Well, we're getting close. So any final words that you want to share? I'm going to give you some time to do that.
I'm hoping I was able to give enough out today to everyone to help you all. Sorry if I jumbled up a little bit. I'm just trying to recuperate from these injuries, so I'm glad you're all able to bear with me.
No worries. I warned everybody before you came on. Make sure you got your ears open.
Right. I want to see the best for mankind. especially
Oh.
as a higher being. Us gray races, we have an enactment order together, and we monitor the human race for eons, and we've seen them stumble many times. But we see a conjuncture point that they could potentially withdraw themselves from that stumbling. When humans were given that awareness, they were given the motive to decide for their own actions for a reason. So even if self-monitorization, make the right decisions. Humans, you're given that. Even if there's an MK Ultra out there, there's a way to worm around this too. It's controlling your own mind and being able to create a level, a protective layer around you and your etheric shield, avoiding things that would potentially cause a mind control scenario, including watching things on TV, listening to some things, eating some things.
Watching TV is a killer. I don't watch TV anymore. Stopped doing that decades ago.
Humans
I
can
had
pull
one,
away from things that are bad to do good. They can.
but you see, there's a lot of stuff that was intended to do good, and instead of it being used for good, it's turned the other way. You know, it's turned for the benefit of that small group of people. Time and time again, that's happened. It's sad. And we just have to get people to realize, wake up. And I know that's people hear that a lot, but everything is not as if you're somebody that watches TV a lot, especially if you watch the news on TV, your perception of what's going on is not accurate. I'm just telling you straight up, it's not accurate. What you need to do is get on. We have the entire world of information available to us. Just get on and start looking. Look here, look there, just look around. Especially if you start looking outside of the country and get information from outside of the country, it's much more, I'll just use the word accurate than what we're getting here. A lot of what we're getting here is just straight up lies. It's not even close to the truth. But they get away with it because they passed laws years ago that the media can lie to you. That was thanks to Mr. Obama. Thank you very much. So my greatest concern for people is God has given you critical thinking abilities. You have common sense abilities. When you look at something, use some critical thinking. Questions. Ask. What's happened today is yesterday actually. Guy put up a post about Donald Trump being the best president. Blah 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 blah. So I just asked some questions. I said, "What happened to draining the swamp? What happened to no new wars? I don't remember. What happened to stopping the war with Ukraine in one day, and a couple of other things and the grief that I caught for that, just for asking questions, the grief that I caught, oh, you have serious TDS, you need to get a life, just one thing after another. This is the problem that we have today. First of all, nobody's held accountable. And second of all, we've reached a point where you can't ask questions. And if you do ask questions, you're some type of troublemaker. I don't know, but that's how it comes across. It's crazy.
It's like a trapped world net for humans. And the same thing on celestial world net that's been trapped and enslaved from. There have been many others and have been enslaved and trapped in a bubble.
Yep.
And yet it goes past the humans doing it. It goes to higher negative races that control that dominating sphere. Like the Alpha Centauri Draconians, they have been a problem for a long time. The mainly is the Vril, but they have decimated, especially the Vril, several planets throughout eons. This has been controlled for a long time by their race.
Wow.
The Mater Gray work alongside affecting bovine, the cows, and they're affecting the curricular activities of humans' neural thought processors. That's why there are mutilations, abductions, all this other stuff. in humans, and they notice in the grays and they get captured up, and it doesn't come as good positive. They always see them as slim, just as raggedy looking, slim things, slanty eyes, thin, snarly type of face. And they're usually really tall. And a lot of the shape-shifting reptilians cooperate on levels with the elite. But there's a mixed point between good and negative there.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm just about out of time, my dear. I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate the education, especially on the. I'm going to keep thinking about the pineal thing, front and the back, front and the back. Hot dog. See, it's great to have an open mind because there's always you never can tell what you'll learn. Well, anyway, my greatest appreciation. I wish you a great evening. I'll give you a second for a final word, and we're gonna head it on out.
All right. I appreciate you, Riscalla. I appreciate everybody else who's listening in on the show tonight and their patience. And just one other thing, don't give up. Find your worth, find your stability, find your peace, especially in this inflicted world that you live in.
Yep.
And pull through and find a way out of anything that's corrupting your own well-being.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, people. We are just about out of time. If you missed any part of that, you can always go back. There will be an archive on, let's see, on Facebook. I'm looking to see where else is going to be on YouTube. There'll be an archive on Rumble. I can't read the other one. Anyway, so if you want to play it back or you didn't hear a part of it for whatever reason, you can go back and listen to the archives. Say thank you to everybody. I greatly appreciate it. I got to sign off just a little early tonight. My back is just knocking me out. Not very comfortable, so I'm going to go lay down and hopefully when I wake up in the morning, it'll be gone. In the meantime, I hope you all have a great week. Once again, my greatest appreciation. Thank you so much. And God willing, and the creek don't rise, as my friend used to tell me, I'll be back in a week. See ya.